It is the Sports Fix here on Flow FM, and let's take a look at what is going on in River Murray football now. An interesting round last week, round 13 of matches over the weekend. And Big Bruce joins me on the line to go through it all. Brucey, how are you, mate?
Hey, g'day there, Jace. And look, as we say on the Friday night footy show, what a big week in River Murray football. I tell you what, it was one of the biggest weeks you've seen in River Murray football. Now, currently out there they're searching for a Indigenous Guernsey that might fit Big Bruce, because I tell you what, Jason, last weekend in River Murray, we had the Indigenous round, and I tell you what, there were some Guernseys out there that just take your eye. They are just brilliant, and the designing and all the rest of it, and all put together last weekend. And some of the Guernseys were just unbelievable. Maipolonga, Meningie, Tailem Bend, and Imperials. It just, it was just brilliant last weekend. And to see the players playing in it, and I see Maipolonga have advertised that you can buy these Guernseys. So, to anyone out there that can make one that might fit me, I'll have one.
That's exactly the right, Bruce. Now, I was asked what size I was for a club shirt a little while ago. There was some club merch getting out there, and I won't mention the club, but the gentleman who looks after the club merch said to me, "What size do you take?" Looked me up and down, and I looked him square in the eye, and I said, SM. You know what SM is, Bruce?
Small, medium.
Not quite. Small marquee. In the end, I said, look, just get two of them, stitch them together and send it over.
There wouldn't be enough material to go around both of us there, Jay. So I'm first, all right? But I'll tell you what was big last weekend in River Murray football was the margins.
Yes,
yep. It was some huge margins, wasn't there?
There was some big ones, and it was the big boys flexing their muscle, really, against the lower-ranked clubs. Rambler had the bye, the Ramblers crew, the Roosters, so they didn't cop it in the neck, but a couple of others did. Maipolonga certainly copped it at Johnston Park. Imperials towed them up, 2015, 135 to 2-6-18, Bruce.
Well, when you look at the three games, it really was, as you said, the big boys, because it was pretty much all three games, the top versus bottom, and it was 1, 2 and 3, all got the win, and all put 2 more points on their premiership points, and are all still locked together in an amazing feat from the weekend's footy. Yeah, look, Imperials were just too good, weren't they? And they ran out winners by some 117 points, and they were just all over it in all departments. And look, it was a young lad they put on the field in Jaden Mole. He's only an under 17, and he come out and he smashed home 6 goals. Now, he's got a huge future, this kid, and very impressive and one to watch. And also levelling him out was Sam DiMichele with 6 of his own, and those two guys dominated, and that just left Johnny Boris just to probably sit in the square and finish off with 3, and they just had goal kickers everywhere. But look out for this young Jaden Mole. He is going to be a star. Best players named for the Blues was Harrafield, Sam DiMichele, Montgomery, Marsh and Mole in there, as you would expect. And for Maipolonga, well, goals a little hard to come by. I think they probably would have bought Simon Norris and Jack Wilkins a beverage after the match for their 2-goal effort to make it look respectable. House and Fritchley, Mason, Jones and Stegmaier were named as their best in a dirty day out for the Tigers, where Imperials really have regrouped from that defeat a couple of weeks ago.
All right, so far too easy in the end there for Imperials. But look, the one that surprised me as to the size of the margin was Jervois taking on Mannum. Now, I'm not sure if there's some extenuating circumstances around this or not, but we know Jervois are a very good side, and them thrashing anyone's not beyond them. But 22-9, 141. Mannum, who are finals bound, 4-3-27. Boy, that's a big margin for a team that's going to play finals, Bruce.
Oh, it is. And if you remember, I said a couple of weeks ago, and you just about held me down, and I said that the final 5 is set, and 4 and 5 in respective to that, and that is quite clearly now that I cannot see Mannum or Meningie, Jason, get in that top 3 position. I think we know that's settled now. That's my opinion. Imps, Jervois and Tailem Bem. And yeah, there's a big difference there. And look, Jervois were just firing on all cylinders. Josh Scott with 9 goals. He was just in absolute sensational form. Owen Love returned to the side with 6, just outstanding. This is a bloke that was playing B grade for 2 or 3 seasons. I thought his A grade days were done, but Owen Love just came out and turned it on. Silverlock with 3, and Peter Zarantinello returned to the side with a couple. Whilst for Manham, goals a lot harder to find. In fact, all singles: Hawkins, Wiestra, a couple of their big names, Ribbons and Stagg. But what we do know about this game was, as we said, Scott and Love with that big goal haul, as you'd expect, named in their best, first and second, Klusky in third, Ben Hansen and Peter Zarantinello, whilst for Manham, better players hard to find, Bowden, Yanch across the half-back line, and Jack Foreman, a young one, coming up through the ranks. But, Jervois, they really have stamped their authority on the competition and ran out here pretty easy winners over fourth place Manham by 114 points.
Yep, that's a big margin. But last match of the round was always going to be tighter than that. Tailem Bend taking on Menengi, and you could play this game 10 times, and I reckon you'd have a different result, maybe 6 out of 10 times, or 5 out of 10 times. It's very much a 50-50 proposition between these two at the moment. Tailem Bend, though, are getting better every week, and Menengi are just coming off a little bit, aren't they? They're off the bit a little bit, the Bears at the moment, and Tailem put them off their tucker in the end.
Yeah, they certainly got the better of them. But Menengi, one of their playmakers down there, former Adelaide Crow, Brodie Martin, just freshly jumped off a plane and flew down to Menengi to play this game, and pretty much walked in the ground before the game started. And that is commitment. And he'll take a couple of weeks, obviously, to find his feet with, probably still had some jet lag and that from holidaying overseas. But he's going to be a handy acquisition back into that Bears lineup, and you'd expect them to get better from here on with him back. Sam Sanders, just a real workhorse for the Bears. He had a great game. But their best was Clinton Walker, and he really is starting to turn it on. Best and fairest at Ramblers last year, and really is starting to turn it on for the Bears. Gibbs and Biggins also named in their best. But the player in this game that really stood out was young Lachlan Thomas, and he is just a real gun, this kid. He's had a bit of a go down at Sturt, only under 17 age group, under 18 age group, and he is a real gun, and he just had a magnificent match, and Westhoff was their best goal kicker with 3. Some twos out there to Connor Smelt and Stephen Clay and Jacob Wilson. But great game, they tell me, by Lockie Thomas, and Daniel Perks, Dylan Hogarth back to his best. He's one you'd take in the trenches with your Dylan Hogarth, a real stalwart there at the Eagles, and Porter, and good to see Robbie Young amongst the best players. But at the end of the day, it was Tailem Bend, too good for Menengi, and that really... it was only 28 points in the end, but you'd say that Menengi on that form look a lot better than Manham at this point in time. But get on the Facebook page of Menengi Footy Club, or even our page, Murraylands Football and Netball Sporting Results. Some great photos there of the Indigenous round and the Guernseys, and our man from Murraylands Football and Netball, the King, Mark Coolmartry, doing a magnificent smoke ceremony down there, and it was a magnificent day by all reports at Bear Park.
Well done to the crew down there at Bear Park for putting on a great day, but got some work to do on the field between now and the end of the season. We've got 6 rounds to go, Bruce. It's going to get to a point soon where it's mathematically impossible for that top 5 to change in terms of the makeup of it. It's just a case of who wins what. We've got almost 3 divisions going on in this competition at the moment. Jervois, yep. Imperial, Tailem Bend, they're all on 8 wins, 3 losses. Menengi and Manham are 5 wins and a draw. And then you got Mypolonga and Ramblers, 2 wins and 1 win respectively. They're out of commission. So there might be some movement between, the 4th and 3rd, but it's unlikely.
Yeah, I think unlikely. I've just put it into the calculator, and it's definitely unlikely.
Yeah.
But I think the only thing we're going to see is that top 3. I still predict Jervois to probably finish top. I think Tailem Bend can probably get 2nd and Imperial's 3rd from what I've seen. But I can't see it changing in the 4th and the 5th. Although, would you see that too often where last weekend Menengi went from 5th to 4th and they lost? You wouldn't see that happen too often, would you?
No, it doesn't happen that often. You're right, Bruce. You're spot on there, but... let's have a look at, and quickly, obviously, we'll preview these games in more depth on Friday during the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, but The matchup of this round, of course, will be 4th versus 5th, a potential elimination semi-final awaiting these guys. It'll be at Mannum. It's the Roos and the Bears.
Yeah, it's really a psychological game from here, isn't it? Obviously, Meningie go in, you'd think, in just a slight little bit of better form, but Mannum did have a couple of outs last week, so, the side makeup will come into to it. Look, at Mannum, they usually play a little bit better out there, so I'll probably go for the home ground advantage, but you don't underestimate these Bears with Brodie Martin, another gallop this week on the track, and he should be freshened up, and don't be surprised if they can knock Mannum off. My Palonga host Jervois in, what should be just as easy as 1, 2, 3 for the Bloods. They should get the points there pretty easy and remain on top. Look, percentage could come into it for that top spot, so they'll probably want to cash in on that. Jervois will have those make-up to the sides on the Friday league teams at River Murray on the Murraylands Football and Netball Sporting Results page. And the last game, Ramblers taking on Imperials. Well, you'd have to say, when did Ramblers and Imperials last play? And the focus really wasn't on the big bridge showdown. So, look, we know Ramblers are rebuilding this year, but I just can't remember when these two going head-to-head really hasn't attracted the front page, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep. No, I'm with you. So, all right, well, it's going to be a very interesting round 14. We'll get you back on Friday to preview them properly, Bruce, but until then, you enjoy the rest of the week, all right?
We'll see you on Friday.